So to program a job, firstly you need to have it so that the program is flashing, which you do by pressing this button. So it cycles through each program. Program 7 is like a default for weird sizes. Program 4 is just for A4. So to change the settings, you want to press this button here, which changes it, goes into the program. So first you want to start with the length. So whatever length sheet you're running goes into there. So just for an example, put 450, so you want to put 4500, then enter, which is this button. Then the width, for example, just put in 2970, enter. The staple is where it's going to staple. So anything other than the centre you have to change, but it will automatically work out what the centre of the sheet is. So just enter. A refers to the closest staple head, and again it works out the right distance between the A and the B staple so that it's centred. F is the finish size. So just for example, put in 210, enter, and then it asks you whether that's all correct. Enter. Now it's flashing. We'll press enter again, and the machine will set up to those settings. These rollers here, well, this roller here has to be in there for the trimmer to set up properly. If it's not in there, it'll be out by about 30 mil. But if you are having trouble with jams or marking, you can take it out.
Yeah, how's that one coming out?
There's an Allen key screw right there. Just undo that, and it pulls out. So if the machine stops, it may not always be in the staple area, the fault area. It may be here. The stapler should direct you to where the error is, and it'll point to a certain part. So that one there is telling you that the paper bin's full. That one there is telling you that it's missing. That one's telling you that the blade's not home. To get the blade to home position, you want to come down to the blade and then hold the up. So I'll put it down in this circumstance. You hold it and it trims, but if it does get stuck down, you need to hold it up. It's gone down, so you get it back home, you hold it, and it comes back up. To turn the trimmer off, it's just that one. To clear a jam without opening it, it's that one. Feeds. That one's emergency stop. That one's call a tech if there's something wrong. That one's the lid's open.
Yeah.
I'll go through these. Again, here, if you get an error, it'll point to where the error is occurring. So you get an error in the stapler, it'll have an arrow to it, the feeder or the trimmer. So if it's pointing at the trimmer, that means go to the trimmer. If it's pointing at this one, that means that it's undersized. If it's pointing at this one, that means it's a mismatch size. To clear this one, just go back through your program and reset it by hitting the emergency stop. This one, you have to, if you're doing anything under, I think it's 200 mil, you have to press shift and enter at the same time, just to let it know that it's undersized and you're telling it that you know. To adjust where the staples and it folds, is in here. So you click this one, you click them both, or you can click them separately. To get it to move, it actually moves the paper. So if say the staples are too far this way, you need the stock to go this way, you want to highlight the staple and bring it across. Each one of these is about half a mil to a mil. To get it to go 10 mil, hold shift and one press, that's 10 mil. Then if you want to do fine adjustments with your the knock-ups, which are these two, and then the staples, which are these two, so just select the button, but you have to actually run in, you have to actually be in the program to be able to change where they are. Then if you want to do a fine adjust, you can do a jog. So if you press this button, that light there will flash, so it will mean it will go through each stage and stop, which means you'll be able to adjust where these are knocking up to. So it's stopped. So say the back knocks aren't knocking up properly, I'll select the back knocks, which are these ones, and then these ones move it. So that'll move it back and that'll move it forward. And if that's the side knock, that'll move it out and that'll move it in. And then that's for the staples. So then to get it to go further, you press the jog and it goes into the feeder. The same deal, you can move where it's knocking up to. And then press it again and come out. So to adjust how it's folding, say it's not folding properly, it's not going through, or it's too loose, or it's marking, these two here will adjust the bottom rollers. We never really go over about a 3, anywhere between 1 to 3. Normally set at about 1.5 to 2 for most jobs. You have an arm here, and this adjusts the top roller. That's usually set at 2, and then there's one further down that goes 1 to, I think it's 9, which adjusts the middle rollers.
What are you looking at that at?
3, I reckon. Yeah, 3 or 4. These roller here, they can come out. To get that out, you just undo that arm there, lift up, pull it out. This will stop the stock from going further past the folder knots. So if you're ever having trouble where it's not folding where it should be, it's probably because it's not hitting up to the knots. So if you put this in, it'll keep it flat. But this has a habit of marking the job. So to get it back in, there's like a hole where that fits. These here, there's 3 arms. They come loose sometimes, and that can stop the job as well. So here you got your lay. You just undo the green knob, and that moves it back and forth. You just set it up to your job. When you're doing underside job, that roller there will have to come out just by undoing this green knob here.
What's the size restriction? A5 undersize?
No, I think it's anything under 200 or 210. 210, I'm pretty sure will let it feed because that's the lowest the ruler goes to. Anything below that, I think it starts hitting parts. So that's all for in there. In here, if it's undersized, we'll have to remove this one. and then there's another one in further, a little green knob here. Yep. And that just lifts up, and then you just tighten it back. That's about it. So this is the main screen. This is telling you how many sets an hour it's doing, which way it's feeding, how many sets you've done, whether you want to count up or down. There's nothing you need to touch except how quickly it's going to feed. That's only when you're feeding from the tower. Modes. This is to reverse it if you're just doing a collating job. And option. This one here is how far apart they're feeding from the tower. This here is telling you where you want the sets to detect on the page. So say you've got a black line on the front of your job and you want it to detect it like further back, you just bring it back. Detect sensitivity, the plus meaning that it's more sensitive to how many sheets. So if you're running thin stock, you want a higher. Feed clutch timing is how long it's feeding a sheet in for. So if you're running something that's say A4, you don't want it to feed very far, so you run it low. If you're running something that's hot like long, then you have it high. Midway's optimal. Manual stitching is when you're doing hand feeding, so the green button won't work. So the only way to turn it on for manual stitching is through this button here. Hand marry is if you're running more than 10 sheets. So you've got all the towers full and you've got another sheet, then what you want to do is you want to set it to 1 and turn that on, and then when you do a proof, it will let you feed one through the hand marry section. This one is for the tower separates how much air is getting pumped out. 1's the highest, 3's the lowest. So if you're running thin stock, have it at 3. Heavy stock 1. I normally run it at 1. Detect sensitivity. You've got auto and manual. Auto is good, but if you're having trouble with saying double feeding and it's not actually double feeding, change to manual and then switch whatever tray you're having trouble with to the opposite one, and it should fix it. If it doesn't, turn it off, but make sure you keep an eye on what's going on, otherwise you could get double feeds and not know. This misfeed jam detection. So if you're having fake jams or fake misfeeds, you can turn the sensor off on each tray. So to set up a new job, all you need to do, knock up to the corner, put your base in. Nicely, and then you want to go the proof button, which is this one down here, which will send one to the bottom tray. So you just click that. Check how many sheets you got, whether that matches having in the tower, and then check your lights. I've got 2 green. If you got red here, that means it's double fed, and it'll tell you that it's red. And this one's misfeed, and this one's jam. If it's double fed, you go to the certain tray, and then you want to adjust how far away the little piece of plastic is away from the belt. So 1 is tight, 7 is loose. You just do that depending on how thick the stock is. And then this is how much air is blowing through. So 1 is not much, 7 is high. Normally run it about 4 or 5, and that one about between 5 and 6. So once it's come through and you've got all greens, I normally run it a bit slower than what it says, because otherwise you get jams further on. So I run about 2200 an hour. But you want to type in how many you want. I normally do 1 just to check. So you always put in how many you want, otherwise it won't go. So you hit go. So there's the finished product. You just check, make sure that the fold lines up, the staples lines up, there's no marks, everything looks normal, it's not crooked, hasn't folded crooked, and that's it. Very toxic.
Yeah. Cleaning rollers.
Use gloves. I'm going to feed a new wire. It'll come around each of these so it's going through. And feed enough so that it can go through the little pads. You pull them out and they separate. So aim it for the hole. Make sure the very front of it is fairly straight, and you start feeding. And there's a spot here where you'll see the wire pop through. When it gets to there, you can stop doing it by hand and start doing it with this. Does that come through yet?
Yep.
So then you want to turn this off. So before you start feeding, make sure you turn that on, because that releases the pressure in the tube. So we're going to turn that back on. And then you want this cog here, that just slides over it, and you start turning. And it should start feeding from the roll. And then you want to, sometimes that'll happen, it won't feed into the tube. So now we need to back it out. So to back it out, turn that back on. This here, you need to pull that down, otherwise it'll lock. So then you just feed it back. And we go again, try and get it to feed in. I'm just going to bend it so it tries to go in there instead of. Yeah. Yeah, so that's gone through to the next tube. You can start winding. So it's feeding off the roll now. You want to do this fairly slowly because down the bottom it turns. Otherwise it'll get jammed. So what I'm looking for is it's come through out here. So that means it's fed through properly. So now if we run, run a couple. here again. So we have to undo it all again. Pull it back out. Let's do that. Come out. But it doesn't feel quite right. Feed a couple. See if it lights itself. Alright, so we have a jam. So it's telling me the jam's in the folder. So that didn't have enough pressure to fold it. So what I'm going to do is turn these down. One.
One is tighter, is it?
Right here, check the speeding, which isn't, because it's back up here again. Go again. You can see it's got a nice little bit of wire poking through. It's all clean, it's all fed through. It was feeding off the roll. So if you put a quantity in here, say I want to go 1 for the proof, and then it's done the proof and that's fine, you have to press clear, otherwise you can't. It'll just keep adding. As soon as you hit clear, it'll go back to 0, and then you can put in, say, 100, and then start again. To get the trays lower, that's lower, that's to raise them, that's to clear a jam, and that's your proof. Stop it, you got this one here, so you got this here, in there you got a red button and a green button, green's go, red stop. To clear a jam out of the tower, there's a bar under this one, just push up each side, and that opens, and you can clear the paper that's jammed in there. To get this open, pull the handle up, or grab here and pull up, that'll lift the whole thing. Take the back off. You want to open this one, and then in here, there is a bar with 2 pins that sits on this and the trimmer. So there are 2 holes that corresponds with. Then you shut this, push this back, lock to about there, and then you've got to unplug it, and now it's disconnected. Undo it, the key, pull it out, make sure it's clear, put the offending drill bit that's blunt back in, all the way up, so it can't go any further, it should be flush. Tray out. That's the sharpening tool. Then I'll bring it down, sits on it, then hold it. So you bring it down very slowly. Wait for it to soften down. Take it off. Check how much it's done. Hot. So that's on the inside it's pretty good, but it's got a big burr on the outside. Taking off the file, put it back in. And you want to use the edge of the arm to rest the file on. Tilt it down. Use your other hand to hold down, and very carefully turn it off. Need some more. Oh.